Okay, call this meeting to order. Could I please have a roll call?
Director Maria Gonzalez. Director Joe Harper. Here. Director Marco Pinzon. Director Elugio Vera.
Present.
President Jenny Torres.
Present.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Could consent agenda, all matters are considered to be routine by the commission and will be enacted by one motion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. 2A is minutes of the regular meeting held January 22nd, 2025. Did the board have an opportunity to review? I have a motion.
A second.
And I have a second. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, discussion and possible action items. Discussion and possible action on any and all matters regarding ratifying the contract with ICE. Ms. Kay McQuill, General Counsel.
We got it done at the end of February. However, we didn't bring it to the board immediately because we were thinking we were going to bring you some reimbursements for the reserve fund, and then at the last minute, LaSalle requested to remove those from our agenda. So today we're asking for ratification of the ICE contract that expired, and it was renewed for another 5 years. The 100-bed guarantee continues, and the rate went up from $125, which hadn't been raised for 2.5 years, to $140 per bed per person for the first year, and then there's increments for the second and third years, ending at the fourth and fifth year would be at $154.54. ICE will also pay for transportation, which isn't part of the bond replacement, so it's bond payment, so it's outside of that process, but it does help LaSalle to stay in business. Those buses that they use to transport are in excess of $600,000, and they were only getting mileage at 60 cents a mile. So this contract allows for $5.83 per mile. So we're asking for ratification of the ICE contract.
Thank you, Ms. Kay. Do you guys have any questions? I think this was a really tough negotiations, and they did a really excellent job in really trying to keep the facility in operations, and this was a pretty big step in doing that. But Ms. Kay will be able to answer any questions, and I know that the warden is present as well.
Is that mileage?
Both ways.
Any other questions?
Question on the amount of $5.83 per mile. Was there any reference as how that was calculated? I just never seen that number so high.
So the CFO was happy with that amount, so I don't know if he provided the chief financial officer for LaSalle was happy with that number. I don't know if I didn't see in the email that particular. I was more focused on the per bed, since it's outside what we have for paying off the bonds, but I don't know if the warden is happy with that. All right, is the warden happy with the $5.83 a mile for transportation?
Yes.
Warden Rivas, is this the per mile? Was that calculated based on operation of the transportation, or do you understand? Can you explain how? Go ahead.
Provide all the expenses.
Okay, so pretty much that's what it comes out, like actual cost. That's why it's a little bit higher than your, obviously that's 60 cents per mile previously. Okay,
We do a lot of runs for them.
okay,
That makes a difference.
thank you.
Big difference from the government services rate.
Yeah,
If you
for
guys
sure.
can connect to the mic a little bit more, I think it's being recorded and it was
That makes a
difficult to
big
hear for
difference.
the, thank you.
Yeah, 583 looks pretty healthy.
Yep.
Any other questions on the mileage or the rate?
No, no further questions.
Mr. Harper?
No, not at this time.
Okay, since there's no questions, I will entertain a motion. I will move to ratify the contract with ICE signed February 28, 25. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes, second.
I have first and a second. All those in favors, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No nays. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Kay. Item,
Yeah, well, I'll keep the warden up here.
sure.
Handcuff?
Item number 3B, discussion and possible action on any and all matters regarding ratification of a contract modification of rate increases for detention services for the United States Marshal Services. Ms. Kay McQuill, General Counsel.
Hello, board members again, and this item was the Marshal Service contract. We usually don't bring this back to the board, but this particular year it was negotiated. Again, we started back in August when the wage determination comes from the Department of Labor, and we negotiated until March 10th. So this one, this is our main contract. ICE is a big contract, but this is all federal agencies that want to use the facility, they piggyback on the Marshal's contract. The Department of Labor determines how much is the prevailing wage for guards in prisons and the other employees every August. And based on that determination, they adjust the amount of the contract. And since we negotiated for such a long time, I brought this back to the board. So we went from $104.84 to $140 per person per day in the
To give you a little bit of
detainees.
history, we had never gotten an increase based on operational expenses since 2015. 2015 agreement with U.S. Marshals addressed a Department of Labor wages requirement. From then on, the only increases and adjustments they made were based on Department of Labor wages. And so Tim Krupieski, Chief Financial Officer, brought up that point with them. And that's how, and we also let them know that ICE had agreed on the same per diem. The other significant difference between ICE and U.S. Marshals is that ICE has a guaranteed 100-bed capacity payment, meaning if they have one detainee or 100, they pay for 100. Big difference.
Okay.
Does the board have any questions?
And then the rest of the contract is the transportation services also went up about $3 on this one, a little over $3.
Again, I think that this is excellent negotiations, and I think that it helps the facility continue to operate. So I was very happy with the outcomes of those negotiations.
We struggled with that one. We struggled, negotiated back and forth, and it went silent for long periods of time.
Any questions from the board?
How is the amount of people that we're getting from ICE and the marshals now? Has that increased any, or are we still at a,
We feel a significant difference. It's good. As far as our operational expenses.
I think the numbers have been in the 500s monthly numbers. Is that what we're, the detainees has been in the 500s, at least from the reports that I've been receiving, just an average 550, somewhere around there.
The current ICE population is a different population than what we had before because of what's going on nationwide
Yep.
with the asylum seekers, asylum no longer available to them. So they're staying much longer now. They're not just coming, staging, and leaving. They're staying.
Is both units working now or just one?
Other one?
Do you have both units working now?
Yes.
I just note for the record that Marco Pinzon came in at about 5:10.
Member Pinzon, we're in item 3B.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Member Pinzon, what we've been discussing in some of the negotiations that were conducted to increase some of the fees by U.S. Marshal and ICE. I think the first item was approved, and the second item was being discussed at this point.
On the wages, how do we stand comparing to the state wages being paid on the, as far as the,
Well, we were ahead of them, but, with their own retention issues and the competition, they've gotten some increases also. And there's even some bills in currently asking for more money for them. And our hands are tied with just Federal Department of Labor wages. But we're not having any hiring issues.
How many employees do you have at this moment? Employees?
197.
197?
We have some vacancies. We just brought on a class of 18 officers. They're in training. They graduate this Friday. And soon after that, we're going to have to start another class for another 9 officers.
Okay, good.
We had 26 vacancies.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Do you have any questions, Marcos?
Sorry that I'm late, and thank you guys for your patience. So what I'm understanding here is increase the rate for the, from 104 to 140. And what's this, 35 to 38.50 per hour? That's for the employees?
That's the transportation?
That's transportation, when they choose transportation and, okay, all right. That's it.
Okay, if there's no additional questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move to ratify the Marshal's modification number 28 of the intergovernmental agreement for the detention services with the San Luis Facility Development Corporation.
I second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? No nays. Motion carries. Item number 3, executive session. I vote to hold an executive session pursuant to ARS Statute 38-431-0.038, 3, 4, and 7. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
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 Motion carries. We could go to executive session. Could I please have a motion to go back into regular session?
I make a motion, go back to regular session.
Second.
A first and a second. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
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 None, any opposed? None? Sorry. Discussion item 6A, discussion and possible action and any no matters to consider recommending that the city council, that the San Luis facility, recommending that the San Luis Facility Corporation call an election to request voter authority to sell real and personal property of the San Luis Regional Detention and Support Center. Ms. Kay, is that correct, or does it have to be the city council?
City council has to call an election, so this board would just recommend to the city council
Okay.
for it to go out.
Okay, so let me correct my motion. Discussion and possible action and any no matters to consider recommending that the city council call an election to request border authority to sell real and personal property of the San Luis Regional Detention and Support Center. Ms. Kay McQuill.
Yes, everyone, this is this motion would recommend to city council to call an election to sell the property under Arizona statutes. If the property is valued at $15 million or more, it needs to go out to the voters. So the property is definitely more than $15 million, and so we would need to get voter approval to sell a facility.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a
Second.
motion and a second? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye. Kay, do we need to read the motion?
Yes, let's just put that on the record.
Joe, do you mind reading the motion?
Okay. I move to recommend that the San Luis City Council that it call an election for voter authority for a 3-year period to sell real and personal property of the San Luis Regional Detention Center and Support Center.
Thank you, Mr. Harper, and Marcos had
I'll second
seconded
that
the
motion, yep.
first and second. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Kay. Now that we have no future items, I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.